Have you stressed? Need to laugh off that disaster of a parent-teacher conference? Ready to indulge in those "I wish I could say that" moments? You're in luck, because you've just pressed play on the top-rated teacher comedy podcast on the planet. It's time for Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. Here's your host, the teacher comedian himself, Devin Siebold.
Hey-o, Crying in My Car, podcast for teachers. My name is Devin Siebold, and I've got my good buddy, Mr. Greg, the angry Texan parrot, in the house.
Afternoon, y'all.
Oh, thank you all for listening in. Thank you all for supporting. If you are a Patreon member, thank you especially. We have Patreon. Don't forget, Patreon is up, and we are rolling with it. We're posting lots of stuff in there. I've been posting my videos ahead of time. If you are into my videos online, maybe that's how you found me. You can get an advanced look through that. You can actually go there and see them in advance. I'm posting some exclusive stand-up clips you cannot see anywhere else. I've got some tour dates announcements coming soon. And not only that, but bonus episodes, bonus content. I do want to give a special shout out to a few of our new Patreon members. A Jeanette, shout out to you. A Jennifer, a shout out to you. Elizabeth, a shout out to you. And I think we've got one more. Actually a few more. Kate, Lynn, Elizabeth, Jenny, Fiona, and Joanna. So thank you so much for signing up. We did the Patreon party. Now, if you're a Patreon member and you missed out. But if you did want to participate in the next one, it's going to be in July. And the Patreon party was basically me online going through we did a little Zoom show together. I did some comedy. I told some stories. I played some games with the Patreon members, hands-on games, raise your hand if you got the answer. We did a little virtual hand raising, and everybody got something: stickers, magnets. Some people went away with t-shirts, and 2 people went away with $20 Amazon gift cards. Do you know how much it is to subscribe to the Patreon? It's $2.99. They paid $2.99 and then won the gift card. By the way, one of them subscribed that day. Talk about a return. $2.99. She hit subscribe. She logs into the Zoom party, wins a $20 Amazon gift card. She's already in the green, $17.
And now that you've told that story, everybody hates her.
I know they do, but it's pretty cool to give back to the people supporting the podcast. If you're watching online, it is on my YouTube channel. You can tune in and watch the actual broadcast of it, see our beautiful faces, and see the studio that the Patreon helps support and pay for. And we do appreciate all that. Let's see. In the world of teaching, man, I've been doing a lot of teaching Zoom shows. I've been doing a lot of okay, so I have gripes. I've noticed some things. So let me tell you this. I have performed for probably 300 plus schools in the last 6 months. Okay. I have performed for 300 schools in the last 6 months, from Canada, from every single state, pretty much in the entire United States. I've performed even for a few European schools, and it's been fantastic. Greg, though, man, oh man, oh man, I'm performing comedy. We are in a very weird time. High school teachers, I think, are kind of older and get it. They're here to laugh and have fun. When I perform these shows, the high school teachers are great. The middle school teachers are great. The elementary school teachers are mostly great. I say that because out of 100 teachers in an elementary school Zoom, there's 4 or 5 that I watch their facial expressions. And it's these young, 23-year-old, right out of college teachers that are super, super ready to be offended. And my set, by the way, is 30 minutes of the least offensive material you'll ever have in your entire life. There's nothing offensive about it, nothing that you could ever. I've never had one complaint. But it's crazy to me that I see them ready to complain. Like their facial expressions change.
They have a bob haircut?
There are Now you're generalizing. See, you're generalizing the same way they're generalizing.
No, I'm just hearing the way you're describing.
You're
I'm
thinking
like,
of the Karyns, and
yeah, exactly. I'm right there. I'm ready to go.
It's not the Karyns. It's not the Karyns, bro. It's the Karyns with a Y. It's the next generation.
Oh, it's
Karyns.
It's Karen's daughter.
Yeah, it's Karen's daughter.
Listen, my mom would gripe about this.
I swear, I do a joke, and I'll do the joke right now. I'll do it right now here on Patreon.
Do it.
I teach in an area that's 90% Hispanic, and I love it. I love the culture. I love the students. I love the families. I love everything about it. I don't speak Spanish, okay? But, that normally is not a problem. It's just we had a parent-teacher conference. I speak English. Another parent, this mom, she spoke Spanish, and it was just us. We didn't have really any way to communicate. So we had the translator come in, and they were not there that day. So we had to have a student. That the student actually that's the subject of the parent-teacher conference translate for the mom. That went about as well as you think it would. I spent 6 minutes explaining how they're failing, never come into class, they don't turn in any work. He turns to his mom, sums it up in one sentence and a thumbs up. I'm like, I didn't say any of that. I didn't say any of that. And it's just a funny joke. It's a funny joke about two people who are having trouble communicating, and we give a one-up to a child, and he takes advantage of it. It's hysterical. Buddy, I do stuff like that where I just mention that I teach in a Hispanic area, and they get mad. Yeah. And they think that I'm like, what's the thing that baffles me sometimes with this cancel culture? And don't get me wrong, I'm not here to rant and rave against cancel culture, because sometimes I look at some of this stuff and I go, yeah, that deserves to be canceled.
I know, like
it's some of it is really messed up things that we've been doing for a long time, and we probably shouldn't do it anymore.
But it was all worth it to get rid of Bill O'Reilly.
But here's the thing, man. I look at these cancel cultures, and I think that we're unfairly putting it all under an umbrella and thinking people can't be funny anymore. They can. But I also feel like there's way too much of a knee-jerk reaction on the other side to even give something a chance to not be under that umbrella. When I say I teach in a Hispanic area, I see some of these teachers lock up, and I see them start shaking their head no. And I'm like, do you realize how messed up you are? Do you ever realize sometimes that the people calling out racist things are actually inherently, if you look at the actual logic behind it, way more racist, right, than the actual person that is saying whatever they're saying sometimes. And what I mean by that is sometimes somebody goes, hey, I was going through a poor district, and somebody will go, well, you shouldn't make fun of black people. And you go, wait, I didn't say that I was in a black area. I just said it was poor, but they're trying to get you. But in reality, it's their own perceptions of a stereotype or a misconception, right, that is wrong, that they're projecting onto you as if you're the one that was wrong in the first place. And that's what I get sometimes with this stuff is I say Hispanic, I teach in a Hispanic area, and they react negatively. And I'm like, do you realize your negativity is what's making this bad? Right. You have a negative perception of a Hispanic based area. Like, I'm going to say something bad because apparently only bad things can come out of Hispanic areas. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I've got great stories. I've got all my students will tell you. I of all the cultures in the world, I love Hispanic culture. My children are Puerto Rican and Colombian. I mean, I don't know how much, and that's not a pass, obviously, but I know
Hispanic people.
I know, but I love teaching in Hispanic classrooms. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. The Hispanic kids and the parents in the community is great, but they don't know that. And I just say the word Hispanic. I say something about a race, and really
people get mad.
It's just they get mad inherently before they even give it a chance to hear what the story is about, because they have their own preconceived notion that how are we going to get past this as a people if we can't talk about things?
Right. It's like when I worked in restaurants forever, you know how good I speak Spanish. Mm-hmm. And I had this cook who who was
As you
in the
can tell
back.
by his inherent dialect right now.
Well,
He
anyway,
is very fluent.
anyways, I
Yeah.
came to the back and I was just, and all my friends say, it's bled off onto you. None of us are good at speaking another language. So I will say stuff like, like I was going to the back to tell some girl one time, hey, you got some people that just sat at your table. And I went back there and I said, you got 5 Iola at your tablette. And one of the cooks got mad and he was like, dude, I'm sick of you saying that every time. You're racist. And I said, I'm sorry. And I looked at it and I said, you've got 5 people at your table inski. That's table in Russian. And I looked over at the cook and he just shook his head and that stopped. But he even said later, he said, yeah, he said, I see you weren't making fun of culture. You just make fun because you're an idiot and you can't speak Spanish. And I was like, exactly.
Yeah. You're making fun of yourself.
Yeah.
And,
I'm not. But at the same time, it's like one of our buddies has a joke about his weight loss belt. And it
that's incredibly racist joke.
Yeah. and when he does that, the crowd laughs, but he also does other, he mixes it up. So at least he makes fun of white people more in his set, I guess.
Yeah. See, I've heard racist jokes. I've heard racist things. I know what racism, is obviously, but I feel like sometimes people work too hard to be the champion and in the end become the villain. It's really honestly the two-faced mantra. You either live long enough to see yourself become the hero or you die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. And I think some of these people got on their stool and died a long time ago, got up there and tried to stump for something and ended up fully absorbing and adapting to the exact thing that they don't even know. They don't even realize how blind they are to the fact that they're the ones with the preconceived notions. And I'm going to get a lot of messages for that. And that's fine. cryingonmycar@gmail.com. Send them. I don't care. I get messages all the time. To be honest with you, there's several comedians and friends of mine and teachers that we post stuff. And there are people that are so hypersensitive to this stuff that they look for problems. They look for problems and there are no problems and nobody's seeing the problems, but there are problems, and that's the thing is, it's just, it's unbelievable to me, some of the things that people come up with, but I just noticed that. And it really bothered me when I'm doing these shows and I can see certain people. And the funny thing is I can usually pick them out before it starts. I go, this one's going to be offended by me. For some reason, they're going to find a reason to be offended by me. And that's usually the case.
Let's remember when we first started out in comedy, we would cuss on stage. I think you were the first one to break that trend.
Yeah, I started going cleaner, a lot cleaner. I still occasionally cuss, but mostly occasionally.
But you're not dropping F-bombs every other word. I just remember the time that I said some stuff over in Melbourne at open mics, and after the show, some girl came up to me. She goes, you were funny, but in just the way I'm saying funny, you could tell that she was skinny and she was one of those girls that was probably vegan. And anyway, she was just kind of going on like dissecting my set and said, maybe try not to be so offensive to women. And I told you about it on the ride home and you're shaking your head. You're like, you're going to have that every show from the rest of your life. He goes, and you were telling me about the time you said bitch on stage.
Yeah.
And the girl came up to you after the show and was like, about bitch.
No, I think she messaged me on Twitter.
Or something. It was.
But then I kind of realized I don't like that word anyways. And that's the thing is,
that's my favorite word.
Some people, I know some people love words like, but I was just saying it to say it. And that's the thing is when I first started doing comedy, you don't realize. So when you first started doing comedy and Jim Gaffigan, Google him, look up his first album, cusses.
Yeah, bad.
I know. And the thing is, people are shocked. It's not shocking to me as a comedian because comedy cursing is such a crutch. Comedy cursing is a crutch, a bunch of C's there. And it's really when you first start doing it, you kind of throw abrasive language out to fill and to feel like you're, saying something worthy and people are going to listen if I say the F word and it's going to make it funnier if I'm effing this and effing that. And it's not necessary. It really isn't. And people think it's harder to write funny. It's if you're clean, it's not. People always ask me, is it harder to write funny if you're clean? No, because most
it's harder to
most-
write clean.
I don't know that it is. Most jokes can be clean without the cursing.
It can. I think without cursing, cussing, that I've found over my career and my time in comedy has been, I don't know. I'm still an old fan of, like, say, South Park. You know, like the original South Park, where they would bleep out every cuss word. Sometimes whenever you don't cuss, but it shows that you want to cuss, like the ending joke, my ending joke, I don't cuss. You know, I'm doing a rhyme and I say, I'm flying Spirit Airlines and I'm not rich. You know, Spirit Airlines, your mom is a stupid. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. You know, and people know what I'm going to go say, but I didn't have to say it. And it's funny.
Yeah, I did. I know that there's, it's funny though. You mentioned about the bleeping. I used to like that too. I turned in, I have YouTube TV now, and I was watching, getting ready to watch last night. The basketball game was on. It's on at 8. So I moved it over at like 7. I turned it in. And there was a movie on with Ryan Reynolds. I forget that the cable now, they can say everything.
Yeah.
Like they can anything. And, and Ryan Reynolds is cursing up a storm on this movie. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, this is TV. And then I was like, oh yeah, they can do that now. They can like get away with a lot now. Yeah. And they don't really censor any of it. It kind of blows my mind. Cause I remember, my favorite thing when I was growing up was not the cursing. It was the replacements, like son of a shingle.
Yeah.
You remember those?
Yes. I remember the voiceovers and they were god awful.
Like, what the Francis, and you'd be like, Francis, like there was some, I think if you go on YouTube, you can see some like there's definitely, you can tell some movies where they were like, let's make it as funny as possible to have that dub over, and have it say something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the funny thing. But I miss that from TV. Now it's kind of all up in the air.
Yeah, I wasn't able to dub over any of the stuff that I said on the golf course today. I apologize.
Yeah, it was rough. You definitely had a showing. I won. I just want to preface that I won
one of the last 4 matches that we've played.
Yeah, I'm coming around though. My score every time I play is getting lower.
A little tweak.
Little tweaks here, little things here. I'm watching a lot of videos. I've been doing a lot of driving on the range, and really, honestly, golf, just like anything in your life, is 99.9% practice. And we'll go back to the golf discussion in a second, but I think that's why teaching A is so extremely hard and B is not doing better than it was before, is because we keep bringing in new things every year. Imagine if every time you took the golf course, Greg, and maybe 2 rounds, I'll give you 2 rounds, play the way you want. And then the next time you play the golf course, I'm going to give you a different set of clubs,
left-handed,
and I'm going to make you grab it in a different way. The club, you have to have a strong grip this time, or the next one you'll have a weak grip, or I say, okay, so this time you're going to be putting with the one in your chest. The next time you're putting with the regular standard putter, and the last time we're going to have you putt with a putt one from a mini golf.
Right.
Your game's never going to get better because you're always fighting the tools,
the system,
and the system more than yourself being able to perfect it. You are getting better, but everything around you keeps changing. And that's the thing with teaching, man. Every year we're getting a new set of clubs. But that's the thing, is these clubs sometimes are recycled clubs. It's like if somebody handed you Ben Hogan clubs from 1971
the twine,
and they're like, hey, these are new, here, play them. And yet, like, you hit a driver, you get a wooden driver and hit it off the tee, 70 yards, and it cracks in 2. And you're like, this doesn't work. Oh, well, next year, we'll get you some new clubs. Every year it's something with teaching. And it's a great analogy, but it is the truth. And it's the thing that I've noticed though about golf is I'm getting so much better because I'm practicing all the time. And that's it, man. A year from now, if I keep this pace of playing golf and doing it, courses and hitting the range,
you'll break 100.
I'll be I'll be shooting hopefully in the 80s. Hopefully in the 80s. So
that's what Keith shot today. He shot like a 84 or 85.
Wow. So we were out there today.
Mad.
we were out there today. We had a great round. I thought everything was good. It was a beautiful course, Huntington Hills in Lakeland, Florida. If you're a golfer, go for it. Really
if you
nice
like
golf
ducks.
Course.
Go
Yeah,
for
a
it.
lot of ducks out there.
Jesus.
What else? You hit a home. You hit a few homes.
Yeah.
And-
Oh my God. I hit 2 houses. You hit 1.
Yeah, 2-1 on the house hits.
My thing
Literally,
is how is there not a roofer going by each house that's handing out business cards every week? Like, you sure you don't need a new roof? You sure there's not a shingle up there that needs replaced?
well, they probably do after we play, of course.
Right.
they don't play. Normally it's a little different, man. But I don't know, man. I just I love the game. It's so challenging, and this goes for men and women out there. If you're listening to this and you've never golfed before in your life, take it up. It is a chess game.
If you've never played any sports in your life,
It's a wonderful game.
It's a good way to start. Like, I was a baseball player, and I thought, oh, I can swing a ball, I can swing a baseball bat, I can swing a golf club. No, sir. And I had to change everything. I've been working on this game for 20 years,
Mhm.
and it's still, your body evolves, your game evolves.
Yeah, but the thing is you're adapting and really starting to perfect small parts of your game. Your chipping game, phenomenal. You if you get within 10 yards of the green, it's great. Looks good. Your putting game needs a little bit of work. Reading them.
Yeah, I made a couple of 15-footers.
Yeah. The drives. I mean, it's hot and cold. Your main thing, honestly, is
Approach.
Yeah, is all the approach, all of it.
The
so
second shot, I'm either going to hit it really good with the 5-wood or 7-iron, or I'm not.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, you're seeing an instructor. I'm just hanging out with Keith, and he's giving me little bits and pieces of information as I go and piece together.
You got to pay for. That's the thing too, is you got to pay to learn. I never understood why we don't continue to pay teachers. And I don't mean like teachers in school. I mean like teachers in the real world. There's tons of things we can learn out there and we want to do. And people just go it on their own all the time. And don't get me wrong, you're not going in on your own. You have a mentor that's helping you. I pay an instructor because I don't see the mentor as much as you do. And my instructor is helping, perfect my game. But, some people just go, oh, I want to do this. And, and then go it alone. And it takes them 5 years when they could have, had the help of a professional or a teacher or somebody like that and got it done in 2, I don't know. All right, now time to jump into Teachers in the News.
From classrooms to chaos, we searched high and low for the craziest teacher stories this week. Here are your Teachers in the News.
All right, Teachers in the News, starting off with a sad one from my home town where I grew up in Brevard County, Florida. Public schools over there lost a second teacher to COVID-19. He was a digital design teacher at Cocoa Beach High School, and unfortunately, he had a 6-week fight with COVID-19 and passed away at age 65. It's the second one that they've had lost, but anyways, he's going to be missed over there. I'm sure the students are grieving. It's really sad that it happened this way, but just get vaccinated. I don't know. Just get vaccinated. It blows my mind. People shouldn't be dying right now. Like the amount of, do you realize the death? Do you know what the death rate or the hospitalization rate is for vaccinated people?
What?
0%.
Yeah, that's awesome.
None.
Yeah.
You need to get vaccinated.
Well, are you me? I am fully bought.
No, I'm talking to people, listeners. Just get the vaccine.
Listen,
guys. Come on.
And I'll tell you, you're gonna have a side effect. Okay. Just think of it this way. Would you rather die or have a tube shoved down your throat or whatever? Or would you rather just have a weekend of just some mild diarrhea and some stomach vomiting and stuff?
Yeah. And I get that people in the beginning said, this is a science experiment. We're guinea pigs. Okay. Maybe the first week, maybe the first month, but now over 100 million plus are vaccinated now. And we're seeing nothing that people thought would happen. I mean, you and I are fine. The people it just doesn't make it, and you're going to go on YouTube and you're going to see the people in there, the magnetization one. The people are saying, have you seen these?
Yeah.
That you're magnetized after which, by the way, would
They
be
put
badass.
they put a
Yeah.
computer chip inside.
Can I
you.
just say that if that were the case, I would get vaccinated again.
Yeah.
I would totally Magneto everything.
Yeah, this
That
is
would be
metal.
awesome.
I could put that over there and slide it to me like the Force.
Right. I'm not even a little bit magnetized, because if I was a little bit magnetized, you would actually hear the microphone going, woo, you know, and
Yeah.
I mean, but the thing is, I can't believe we're spending time defending this crap. Like that we actually have to sit here and go, you know, I'm not magnetized. Why are we giving these ridiculous theories the light of day? I don't, it just blows
My
my
favorite is that, and don't get me wrong, my fiance doesn't want to be vaccinated yet.
Get her
Yet.
vaccinated.
She
bro.
said yet, and she said, you know, later I probably will because she's been vaccinated, but she's just worried about this, and that's fine. Be worried, you know, that I'm vaccinated. I'm going to, well, I guess everybody can go on a cruise now, but whatever. My thing is the people, some of the people I work with and some of the people that I know are, they're buying in this conspiracy crap.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh my God, no, it's my body. I'm not getting vaccinated. And I think that's bull crap. You're not letting me on your cruise ship. For me, I have to be vaccinated to get on your boat. I'm like, yeah. I was like, otherwise go get $100 million and buy your own damn boat.
Yeah.
And pay for all the people on there that are vaccinated and everything to work on your cruise ship. I just don't understand why people are getting so upset. If you don't want to be vaccinated, fine. Just say, okay, I choose not to. That's fine. It's just like the election. My fiance and I, she voted for Trump. I voted for Biden. You know, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We didn't even get into it. We got into it one time and I was like, okay, this is the last time we will ever get into it on this subject.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to vote her way, vote my way. I got a good woman.
So this is great. This is great because I've been in your house and I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, the listeners.
And now
don't know.
that I know in 2024 you're going to be splitting up when he goes to run again, and you guys start arguing, that means that the house depreciation will definitely. I'll give you 190 now. I'll give you 190 now. In 3 years, you sell it to me. Because there's no way you guys are going to last through a 2024 election cycle.
No, he's probably not even going to be alive by then.
Oh, well, I mean, he's older, but they're all old.
I just don't see, even if he runs again, I think his nostalgia has worn off and people are like, we really don't want to go through it again.
I think you underestimate it.
I do. But
all right, let's go into the next one. In Key West, Stephen Becker, shout out to him. And a friend of his from college had a big goal in mind. They wanted to raise money for college scholarships. And by the way, this is a teacher. And they decided that they were going to do it by raising money. And they were able to raise $5,000 to $6,000 for a college scholarship for a student by swimming 12 miles around all of Key West. That's impressive.
There's a lot of things that could go wrong there, and I'm just going to say
a ton that could go wrong. Those Key West waters are not kind.
Key West also, people don't realize, has one of the third largest coral reef in the world.
Oh, really?
And there's this stuff called fire coral. I don't know if you've ever seen it. You don't want to touch it. There's also a lot of barracudas, and there's sharks and what have you. They always ping that one big great white that they're always, oh, it's that time of year. She's around Key West. Oh, she just popped up by Tampa. You know, that's the thing. It's like, no, I'm not swimming around Key West.
Mm-hmm.
That's just I might swim in the little area off the beach in Key West, but I'm not putting myself out there that's the law of averages. And this is for all you math professors out there. Okay. Listen, law of averages. If you swim around Key West, the time that you are in the water gives the sharks and other things that can hurt you more time to harm you.
Right. Yeah. 12 miles is a long way. And plus there's a lot of boats. I don't know if they had like a place marked off. I don't know. That's a long swim, man.
Yeah.
12 miles.
12 miles.
But you know what? They did it and they raised $6,000.
Dude, I'm exhausted walking 12 miles.
I'm exhausted talking about it. Actually, there's a guy also, I didn't put it on the news thing, but we talked about him already, biking coast to coast, teacher raising money as well. And he's, if you're on Google teacher, van, cross country. Apparently the van that's traveling with him because he's biking, but he's got somebody with him that's kind of like, shadowing him, and they sleep in the van at the night. Apparently it's broke down and they need help. They're like looking for money to fix this van. They don't have any cash, so they're doing a little fundraiser for that.
So is he like towing the van with a rope?
No. All right, next one. Teachers are more likely to experience depression symptoms than other adults during a recent survey. A national survey representative of all adults and different working professions. They found that in general, teachers are 3 times more likely to experience depression than the general adult population. I believe it. I believe it. Says they're stressed out. Also, 1 in 3 teachers are considering quitting this year. 1 in 5 said they're not coping well with stress. 78% of teachers, 78% said they experience frequent job-related stress. 27% said they experience depression, and that most of them are also likely to leave. So 54% of teachers say within the next 2 years. 1 in 4 say within the next year. So unbelievable. I mean, what are we going to do? I don't know.
I'm telling you, dude, they're going to invent droids,
and you're
going to be taught by C-3PO.
Here's an interesting one. 92% of teachers said teaching is more stressful now than prior to the pandemic. And here is what's stressing the teachers out. This is the overall survey. Teaching in person and remotely at the same time accumulated for 70% of teachers that were surveyed. That stressed the hell out of them. Teaching remotely, 40% of them. Changes in their school's instructional model, that was 52%. The health of a loved one who is at high risk of contracting COVID-19, 45%. Their own personal health, 52%. And teaching in person, 30% of them seem stressed about that. So yeah, interesting. I don't know what we're going to do with that data, but it is not good. Here's another one, kind of a weird one. Leave this one to your imagination. A Montgomery teacher coach is arrested and apparently was released on a $5,000 bond. And apparently this person has worked as athletic director and served in the school for 25 years. And apparently they were arrested for using their position for personal gain for himself or a family member, and have been officially charged with an ethics violation. Interesting. So apparently they said they did a deep investigation and found there were $40,000 that were spent within the school with no supporting documentation, and had no details about what it was. And apparently there was also unauthorized purchases at a local bar, online gaming, video sites, a gentleman's club, gas stations, and payments to a family member and a collection agency. Yes.
Everything you just said just gave the guy away as a profile. That just seems like a guy who has got some issues.
Yeah, there's some deep-seated issues there, but you put him in a position of money management, and then it's not good.
Yeah. Did you ever see the episode of Simpsons when Homer was the sanitation director of the city?
Yes, I did.
And Marge comes up, she goes, "Homer, you spent the entire year sanitation budget in 1 month." He goes, "They let me sign checks with a stamp, Marge, a stamp."
All right, man. I'm going to save this one for last. No, actually, I'll do it. I'll do it now.
Make me happy.
No, this one's so controversial, and I don't know which side I'm on. I really don't. Okay. A teacher was finally let go. Apparently this teacher taught at a very high-end school in the New York area called Dalton School. And apparently she taught a sex education course to the students as young as first grade. Apparently she had been
hold on. Repeat that last sentence.
As young as first grade. Apparently she had come under fire recently for showing cartoon videos on proper views and like reception of masturbation to first graders. And these are cartoons. These are apparently, what she'd been doing, but
Japanese.
Apparently
cartoons.
she's been teaching for 11 years and said that, she's been just like, hey, we got to come to the forefront of this and actually talk about, and and get this out there and educate kids early on, so that way. And this is where it becomes so hard, because pun intended. This is where it becomes so hard. So, man, I'm so conflicted on this, because I have now a student. My son Liam is going to be in first grade. I don't know how well he would respond to videos about that stuff. And I don't know how he would interpret it for his own personal meanings, because kids take stuff and they make fun of it and they joke about it and they twist it and they don't really see the seriousness and importance of it. But also, I was older when I found out about this stuff.
You're supposed to.
But here's the thing. It's kind of at a moment where you're already going through it and you're already experiencing this stuff. And it's not really like a here's what to expect. I got the here's what happens, but it had already happened, and here's what you do, but I had already been in those positions and seen, these like kids, you'd be surprised what they encounter early on. I mean,
well, that's why doctors and psychologists have set up, and they've gone along in society to say sex education should really be in junior high or when kids are starting to turn adolescent. I agree. I think it should be 6th and 7th grade. I remember we had mine in 7th grade, but I think 6th grade would be right.
But girls go through they go through this period of puberty, to having their first cycle prior to that time.
But think about this. Let's go the overall.
You're also looking at a see, this is the thing too. This is the crazy thing.
We have to keep our kids as innocent as we can for as long as we can.
It's not innocence. It's knowledge, because it's a natural human thing.
It is. It's knowledge. It's a natural thing.
You're already saying innocence because you have a view of it as a perversion. No, it's not a perversion.
But kids will experiment. That's the thing. I don't want.
But you got it. I know that. So that's why we do it early, so they know what they're experimenting.
No, I'm talking
with.
Like I don't want like little Billy to learn this stuff in the first grade.
Don't you want to know the proper?
Had no idea. And so now little Billy goes over to little Janet's house, who doesn't know about all this stuff, and he's like, "Hey, let me show you what I learned in school." And then the next thing you know, you got a problem. That's where I just see.
But also, if we teach them the proper techniques and respect and consent at that young of an age, then you don't have.
See, that's where
cryinginmycar@gmail.com. I'm going to put this up for a debate up online too, because I'm interested to know what opinions are on this. So you can go to our Facebook page and our Instagram page as well and chime in if you'd like. Just facebook.com/cryinginmycar or CIMC podcast on Instagram.
He says earlier, I say 6th grade is the youngest. I think 10, 11, maybe 10.
Can I tell you a funny story?
That would be the youngest.
I'm going to tell everybody a funny story. This is embarrassing. I don't think many people know this. So I did not grow up with a father. Okay. I did not grow up with a father. I grew up with a mom. I had never seen, by the time I hit puberty, I have never seen another male nude. I'd never seen one.
Oh, cool.
It was, and so I was not aware. And this is just a small example. This is something stupid.
Small example.
This is something stupid, but it's something that obviously has bigger implications for other things. So I got my first pubic hair down there. I plucked it with tweezers. I was like, "What's wrong with me?" And then like another one came and I was like, "Oh man, this is creepy." I was like, "Why is there hair down there? There shouldn't be hair down there." And like, I plucked it. And like, then I found myself like standing in front of the mirror every night. I was like, "What is wrong with me? Why am I turning into this gorilla man?" And there's so many problems. And I was so confused. I had no idea. True story. And I'm not making this up either. I actually went with my mom, and she doesn't even know this, I don't think, to a garage sale. And there were books there. And I remember one of them was on anatomy and physiology and the human body. And I wanted to know more.
What the hell's wrong with me?
No, I know. Well, it was kind of like that, but I wanted to know more about myself, and I didn't feel comfortable talking about my mom about it.
There's hair growing on my palms now.
I literally said, "I want this stack of books." And my mom was like, and I just grabbed a bunch of them. And she's like, what do you need all those books for? And at the time, I had a little fort in my, like, out back. I had a little like play area. I said, oh, I just need it to make some tables and we're going to use them for some crafts and games, blah, blah, blah. And the real story behind it is I went out in my little fort and I read and I was like, what goes on? And I learned from a college level textbook because I didn't have anybody there to talk to me about it. And that's the thing. A lot of these kids they don't have the father to, to discuss these things, or the mother to discuss these things, and I don't know. I worry.
Here's something that I think would be in the right interest as far as sex ed. Maybe each year, you teach a little bit more to a kid, like a young kid. Yeah, they get a little bit, you don't have to give the whole birds and bees, but you can at least say, hey, there's going to be some odd hair growing years later. And then when you get in your 60s, it's going to come out of your ears. Yeah. Oh my God. Pluck one of those. That's fun.
Oh my goodness. Oh, just so you guys know, today this episode is brought to you by Go Guardian. Most teachers, I don't even have to explain it. You know what it is because it's just so world renowned. Tons of teachers use it. This year, honestly, it underscored the tremendous value that technology can bring into the classroom experience, especially when your classroom needs to be accessible from everywhere. But we also know digital learning environment can come with a lot of distractions and frustrations. Go Guardian, as we just detailed with the stress article, Go Guardian Teacher with video conferencing, it's going to help you connect to these students and keep them focused wherever they're learning. Whether you're using devices in the classroom or teaching from afar, you can't always see what your students are doing behind their screens, but Go Guardian Teacher lets you view the students' screens in real time to adjust class instruction or better support the individual progress. So you get to see your students' screens. Go Guardian Teacher also helps you save instructional time by getting students on the same page. Literally, you can put them on the same page. You can deploy a set of pre-populated tabs to the student devices to get your whole class on the same page quickly. You can provide immediate access to all the resources they need for the lesson all at once. You can connect with these students one-on-one to offer guidance or answer questions through chat, audio, video, anything. With Go Guardian Teacher, it's an all-in-one safe online environment. Now you can connect with your students and keep them focused wherever they learn. So if you are interested in signing up for Go Guardian, you can go to go.goguardian.com/crying in my car. That is go.guardian.com/crying in my car. Sign up there. Let them know Crying in My Car sent you. I loved it. We had a similar thing in my school where we would be able to kind of see what the students were doing, but it was really poor quality at the time. It was kind of like just the internet technology, and really I could just send a message occasionally and be like, get back on track. I couldn't control anything they were doing. This is kind of neat that you can deploy all the tabs at once, and say, hey, open up this, this is what you got to do, and look, your research is already available for you. It's kind of neat. I don't know. We kind of live in a world where it's hard, you didn't kind of come up in that era, but I was on the cusp of it, where we would have to look up stuff on the internet, to do assignments in class. And man, it's brutal nowadays, man. It is brutal because you tell these kids what to do and they go to Google and they just click the first links, whatever link there is first, they click it. They will, what's funny, man? You ask them, like, for example, let's say I'm looking for, what did the Pilgrims think about, the voyage to the New World? They will literally go to Google and type in, what did the Pilgrims think about the voyage to the New World? And then hit enter and go, Mr. Seabold, it's not there. And I'm like, no, it is there. You're just typing the question. You're not looking for the question. You're looking for the research. You want to type in.
You want to see what else somebody else did.
Pilgrim's Voyage and click and read firsthand primary, secondary sources. The actual art of research is dead when it comes to online searching.
I bet you
These
anything.
Kids need as much guidance as possible.
Yeah,
man.
this girl that just graduated, smart girl. She's gonna be I think she's a straight A student, works with us. Anyways, she doesn't know how to write cursive or read it. And she saw me writing cursive the other day when I signed a check. She goes, oh, you know how to write cursive? I'm like, yeah, it started in the 3rd grade. and it just got progressively worse over the years. This is hardly legible.
It's a lost art, but it is something that I do. Again, there's some people that argue you don't need it. You should need it. I mean, you obviously need it for things like signatures and to read it, but to write it
really
itself,
is an art. But I look back and I'm also like the early days of the internet.
Mhm.
I tell people, the girl, the same person I had a conversation with, I said, "Hey, do you know what the www means on the internet?" She goes, "No." And I was like, "It means World Wide Web." And she's like, "No, it does."
And what does web mean? And what is that? Yeah. Here's the thing, man, though. I'm so scared for these kids, not only because their inability to research for my class, but dude, the things that we're seeing online are just getting so good at faking news, faking, deep fakes. You guys want a trip? You want a trip? Go to Deep Fake Tom Cruise on TikTok. Go to Deep Fake Tom Cruise on TikTok, and you'll spend the first second going, "Wow, that's cool." You'll spend the next 30 seconds going, "This is going to ruin the world. This is going to be very big and very problematic," and these students got to know, they got to have this ability, this deductive reasoning, because I guarantee I could show the deep fake Tom Cruise videos to students and they go, "Oh, Tom Cruise is doing that. That's cool." And you got to be able to figure out what a deep fake is and how to identify it properly. And I don't even know that I have those tools, so it's just scary. But, online resources, things like that, stuff they see on their internet, you gotta give them the ability to research, and it's a lost art. And it is probably one of the most desperate things that we need right now so that kids can safely navigate the truth.
This is what scares me, Devin. We're going to have astronauts go to Mars. They're going to land on Mars. They are going to take their footprints there, and one of them is going to write his name in the sand or some rock or something, and it's going to be a monumental moment. And instead of seeing this beautiful John Hancock, beautiful, letters that are just connected and everything, you're going to see Kyle. And it's going to be a Kyle that's spelt with an I.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, I'm worried for our country, and I'm worried but then again, education, it's funny because when I think about how education keeps evolving, I remember being in school and looking at the textbooks and the history ones. And at the time it was like, it's telling us about all the presidents. All of a sudden it's like Ronald Reagan's the current president. And it doesn't have any more information. It has more about Jimmy Carter.
Right.
And then later in high school, you're like, oh, and then it has all the way up to Bill Clinton as president.
I got something.
And that's it.
I got something for you. And I don't know if you've seen this. So if you're watching us online, even if you're not, hey, could you just rattle that ice a little bit more? God, so here's the deal. If you're watching us online, I'm about to show you the deep fake Tom Cruise. If you've never seen it, and I know some of you don't have TikTok, just watch.
Hey, what's up, TikTok? Look, I do a lot of my own stunts, but I also do a lot of industrial cleanup, okay? It's important. So obviously you keep your hands clean, but you need that exfoliating product to really cut through the grime. Okay,
that's not Tom Cruise.
Oh.
It's just
the TikTok tips. I'm getting too old for that. I don't internet.
That bothers me. This bothers me so much how good this is,
Obviously. I also do my own music. I've got a sweet spot for a couple of artists, and people are surprised that I'm a big Dave Matthews guy.
But yeah, it bothers me. It literally makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what to think of it.
Wouldn't it be funny if Tom Cruise, the real Tom Cruise, actually ran into him and then beat the crap out of him, and he's like, fake that out.
All right. Now, just so you are aware, I am going to be, I got a few shows coming up. This coming Saturday, I'm going to be in Winter Park, Florida. I'm going to be at the What am I going to be at? Oh goodness, you got the fly here. Goodness,
I thought I killed it, dude. You saw how hard I hit it.
Yeah, I'm going to be at Winter Park, Florida. I'm going to be doing an awesome show there with Rob Smiles. It's gonna be a great show. Don't forget the 18th, which is this Friday. I'm actually gonna be live streaming from my office, and I'm going to be performing a full hour of comedy material. I'm retiring my material. I know that sounds weird. Don't forget the 25th, I will be in Apollo Beach, Florida, at the Firehouse Cultural Center, and then I am also going to be in Tampa with Mr. Joe D, July 30th and 31st. And just so you are aware, there are some Michigan dates coming your way for September. They are surprise. And Visani's Port Charlotte, August 25th through 28th. I'm going to be doing shows there. What you got, Greg?
We got a new episode of Made in America coming up this week. We're going to dive into some professional wrestling, and we're going to dive into some more 80s nostalgia.
Yeah.
I've had some friends and some of the people listening like, hey man, let's do some more 80s. Can you give us some more 80s? So I'm going to give you what you want. You're going to get some 80s. If you have anything that you specifically want to talk about in the next couple of weeks, that's a throwback that people might have forgotten, give us a shout here.
And there's a new episode already up from Memorial Day, Made in Murica, Murica, on iTunes, on Google Play. It'll be on Spotify soon because you just signed up for the premium package.
And
so Made in Murica. You'll see Greg's face in all of its glory, and
you'll see Devin's as well.
Rate it 5 stars. Don't forget to rate this podcast 5 stars too. Our star rating is been stagnant because nobody goes rates it. Rate it. Have fun with rating it, please.
No 1 stars. Don't be that douche.
Right.
Come on.
Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it, and we'll be back next week with a brand new episode of Crying in My Car podcast for teachers.
Be sure to subscribe and rate this podcast 5 stars. Submit all your awesome teacher stories to cryinginmycar@gmail.com and check out Devin on tour. Info and merch can be found at devincomedy.com. Support the podcast on patreon.com/cryinginmycar and get exclusive weekly bonus episodes. And tune in every week for more hilarious stress relief for teachers right here on Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers.